Okay, earlier I mentioned the avatar. And the avatar, your avatar, is basically this sort of fictional person that you're writing to. It's like the ideal prospect. And that's a good thing to think about. Who's your ideal prospect? Or who's your ideal customer, your ideal prospect, your ideal list member? And also, who's your nightmare prospect? And this is one thing I want to mention before I forget. When you're publishing, the reality is that you're going to have some lunatics on your list. Okay, you just can't help it. There's some lunatics out there, and some of them are going to join your list. And so I'm just mentioning this right now in case I forget. You know, you're putting yourself somewhat in the public eye. I mean, if you want to, you can be pretty discreet. You can use a pseudonym. Yeah, I mean, you can sort of hide so they don't know where your physical address is, where you're writing from, so they can't actually find you, but they're still going to be able to write back to you. Okay, and sometimes the lunatics will write back to you, and they might write nasty things, or they might tell you you're an idiot, or heaven forbid you're trying to make money. So I'm not trying to scare you off, but there will be lunatics, and they'll write to you and they'll say stupid stuff. You got to just delete those emails. After you start to grow your business, then you can even have a layer of staff in there that's reading that stuff and filtering out the garbage and only sending you the legitimate stuff. But I do know a few people that have done some publishing, and they'll have like one or two lunatics write to them. And they get freaked out, and they either stop publishing, or they start to care about what those lunatics are saying. But the reality is, if you got in your car and drove to everyone on your list, drove to every one of their houses and gave them a gold bar, walked up to their front door and handed them a gold bar, then some of them will be torqued off at you that you weren't giving them like gold coins or something. So there's just no way you're going to be able to keep everyone happy. So don't expect to keep everyone happy, and just delete those emails. And don't, if you have a lunatic writing back to you, don't get in a conversation where you're writing back and forth with them, you're trying to change their mind, because there are people, that's sort of their hobby, is just to send stupid emails to people that publish. They enjoy that, and they enjoy it more if they get a reaction, and even more if they can suck up your time by writing back and forth with you. So just ignore the lunatics. Now, getting back to the avatar, one of the things for your ideal prospect, you have to think about what are their dreams? What are their aspirations? What keeps them up at night? What are their fears? What are their frustrations? And it's really important that you figure out what those are. You boil down what they are. And it's just because we're going to use that to both build your bribe, and you're going to have this bribe to get people onto your list, but also what you're going to send them, what you're going to email them. It's important you know this stuff. So lots of ways to find out what the dreams, hopes, aspirations, fears are. One of the great things is if you can find a forum for your people. Like, if they're, for instance, here, let's say we're doing Learn Guitar. I've got my guitar here, and I know one of the things, this is my first guitar I ever bought. This one cost about $400. Seemed like a really, when I first was, I wasn't sure I was really going to play guitar when I went and got my guitar. And I thought it'd be a cool thing, but I'm like, what if I get it and don't play it? So I didn't want to spend that much money. So it seemed like $400 seemed like a big stretch for me when I got my first guitar. Since then, I think I've probably got 10 or 11 more guitars since then. And they've cost a lot more than $400. But I still really love, this is a great sounding guitar. I really do enjoy it. So one of the things that, and it's hard to, I don't have a strap, so it's hard to play here, but playing the F chord, that's a real challenge for people that are just starting out, because you got to hold down these two strings at the same time while you're holding down some other strings. So people that are real, they're starting out and they live in fear of the F chord. So I guarantee you that's one of the frustrations for people who are just learning to play guitar, is that F chord. I don't know if you would build your bribe around that, but I guarantee you when you go out and you start to talk to beginning guitarists, that's not like the be-all and end-all. They might worry about their fingers getting sore, because that's, when you first start playing, you can only play like 15 minutes a day because your fingers are hurting so bad. But in any case, the F chord is certainly a frustration for beginning guitarists. But one of the, some of the ways you can find what those frustrations are, first of all, if you're in that market, then you probably have a pretty good idea. But there's also there's this thing called the curse of knowledge. And the curse of knowledge is where once you learn something about about a niche or about a market or a hobby, whatever, once you become an expert, it's very hard for you to remember what it was like to be a beginner. And we all struggle with this. So if you're in a market, you're publishing, you're probably not a beginner. So inherently, it's hard for you to remember what it was like. So things you can do is if you do go look at the magazines that are published in that market. And especially like, a lot of times, almost any hobby or niche, the magazine will have some column, and the column will be just for beginners. And if you just get, 6 months issues of that magazine, you can look at what they're writing about for the beginners. Another way you can do it is if you go to forums. Just whatever your keyword is, if it's learn guitar, or if you're going to do guitar, just go to Google and type guitar forums into the search box. And you'll get to see what forums there are in that market, and then just go to those forums and look at what people are searching. There's going to be a lot of newbies on those forums, or look at like the frequently asked questions or the sticky threads or whatever up at the top, and you can see that what people keep on asking about. Those are the fears and the frustrations. And that's, again, you want to sort of file that away. You want to keep a notebook or a file on your computer where you keep on writing what are the top dreams, hopes, aspirations, fears, frustrations in your market. This is very important that you get very in touch with this. Also, when you get to the forums, you can start to create that avatar in your mind of that sort of that semi-fictional person that you're going to be writing to. Another place to do this kind of research is in social media, in blogs, social media, stuff like YouTube. YouTube's a great place to get, you'll see a lot of people will have videos, how-to videos on the basics. So if you went to YouTube and pressed in learn, put in learn guitar into their search, you can see what people, what videos are out there. You can you can see what videos are being watched, right? Each video, you can see how many times it's been watched. So you can see how, what people are looking at, what other people who are publishing in that niche have created for those people. You can look at the comments. So YouTube's a fantastic way to really get in touch very quickly with your market or your niche. You can do the same thing with like Twitter or Facebook. Do searches there. It's probably not quite as easy to follow and as transparent as YouTube. Go to blogs on a topic and see what people are writing about on blogs and look at the comments. See, the comments is a really good way to see what is resonating with the people in that niche. So, the ability to do research on these markets and niches these days is just insane, off the charts easy to do.